Hi, welcome to Stitch and Witch. It's been a while. So I think I kind of left off. I actually should have gone back and like rewatched my videos, but I didn't. I think I kind of left off. So I think where I left off last time, actually, I was kind of like questioning what I was going to do with Stitch and Witch. What was the point of this channel? Why was I doing this? Where did I want it to go? All of that. And I then had a big shift, and that was kind of all decided for me, which is why I haven't been around. So I, about a month ago now, was offered a full-time field rep position at the union that I already worked for, part-time. And that's a big decision for me. So it was a big decision for me. I mean, I took it. I wanted it. I applied for it. I wanted it. But it was a really big decision for me to make that shift in my career over the last year or so. Anybody who's been around for a while knows that I really wanted to be a high school. I really wanted to be a college English instructor. But higher ed is in a very difficult place right now. If I wanted to move to another state, if I wanted to relocate, I probably could get a full-time faculty position somewhere. But the competition is fierce because so many schools are moving to having more adjuncts than full-time faculty. So an adjunct is like a part-time contracted instructor instead of a regular instructor who's there every single semester without fail. Those lines are fuzzy because there's a lot of adjuncts who teach every single semester without fail. So anyway, yeah, it's complex. Higher ed is a mess right now, basically. And I had to make the decision of continuing to pursue a career path that, the way I see it, is largely disappearing, versus continuing to be this gig economy worker that did what I wanted when I wanted and had all of these kind of, had this kind of pieced together career path, or doing a job that could make a difference in all of that. And I chose the third option. So I have this field rep position now. I thoroughly enjoy everything that I'm doing right now. I'm working to, really empower people to empower working people to demand what we all deserve in the workplace. And it's a really, it's a very cool thing. I absolutely love it. It's not the career path I thought I would end up on when I started my college education, but it's a career path that I can feel really good about, and a career path that I think will be very fulfilling for many, many years to come. Like I can see myself still doing this when I'm 60. I can see myself retiring from working in a union, which is the first time in my adult life that I've ever had the kind of job that I feel like I can see myself doing it for decades. That's pretty incredible. That's a pretty incredible feeling for me. Like actually having things like healthcare and like a retirement plan is amazing. And it's never happened for me before. So I don't know why the dogs are fighting over this chair behind me. I put a reading chair in my office. This is my new reading chair. It's currently got 2 dogs, a blanket, and a sweater on it. And they keep on fighting over who's gonna sit in the reading chair. It's been a thing. I put it in here yesterday, and they've been doing it ever since. So I'm really excited to have a reading chair in my office. So I don't even know where to begin with talking about knitting, but everything I just said, basically what it boils down to is I want to go back to what my initial thing was with Stitch and Witch and actually make it like a fun side hobby. So that means a couple of things. I'm going to stop the audio podcast, which breaks my heart, but it's very time consuming. I am much quicker making and editing and putting out a video than I am an audio podcast for whatever reason. That's just a lot easier for me. It's a lot easier for me to focus on with my ADHD. It's a lot easier for me overall. So I'm going to do that. And also, like the audio podcast, there's costs associated with an audio podcast that aren't associated with a video situation, because so much of what I talk about is knitting. A visual format really works better. There's just a lot of reasons. So I'm going to close out. I'm going to put all of the episodes that are up now on YouTube first. So it'll be a little bit as I do that process. Every episode that I have published on Podbean and on your podcast apps, I'm going to put on YouTube first so that they're all there for you. But I'm going to move to just using YouTube for the podcast. It also just means that I'm more focused and tailored to one thing, which is better with this being like a little side hobby thing versus me. I mean, my initial goal was for this to just be for fun because I like to talk about what I'm knitting. But then I thought, hey, you know, I'm in this gig economy situation. Maybe I can turn this into a career. I still think I could have, but my career goals have changed. So now that I have a full-time job, now that that's what I'm pursuing, I'm really going to turn this back into the hobby fun thing that it was to begin with, which means getting rid of things that are extra costs because I don't make money. I don't anticipate making a lot of money off of Stitch and Witch, and really just making this just kind of a fun thing I do on the side where I get to talk to you all about my knitting and still publish my designs. I do definitely still plan to complete my designs that I have set out for the year, although I'm now a month behind. I did not get my design out last month like I wanted to. It is in the works. I'm gonna talk about that in a little bit. But so I'll still use Stitch and Witch for the design aspect of things. I still want to publish my knitting designs. I still have 1,000 design ideas that I want to put forward. And I'm still doing a lot of work, especially with Wool of Bat and Woolly Witch of the West. I want to do more work with each in creating those designs. So that will still be a thing. I feel like I'm saying a lot because I did not take good notes on what I was going to talk about today, and I'm so afraid I'm going to forget something. So I guess next I want to talk about where I've been knitting-wise, what I've done, which is not that much. I did finally, after how long now, finish the harvest. Well, it's a harvest sweater, but I turned it into a vest because I didn't put sleeves on it. I finished the harvest for my spouse. It's right here. I need to put a zipper on it, and I'm looking for, I have a whole baggie of the right size of zippers, but it's in the attic in a bunch of sewing stuff that I have up there. So I've got to go dig it out. But I did finally finish the vest. The color I feel like is not coming through well on this video, but I'll put up some photos. I will absolutely be making another harvest probably for myself at some point. But this one just took me forever. I don't know why this took me so long, except that like endless stockinette when it's back and forth. So it's a knit and then a purl and then a knit and a purl row. It just takes a really long time. So that is in the Red Heart Boutique Eclipse Starry Night yarn, which is absolutely a gorgeous colorway. I think it's discontinued, which is devastating to me because it is a beautiful colorway. But yeah, so I finally finished that. I've got to put a zipper on it. That's the only end. I've got like one end left to wind in. But that's the only thing I have left on that. So that is a done project, which I'm really excited about. I was excited to get that off the needles because part of the reason I was so excited to get that off the needles was because I promised myself that I would not start my Greenfield cardigan, which is what I'm working on now, until I finished that harvest vest. So I did cast on the Greenfield cardigan. It's in stone wool yarn. Oh, that's not good. That's my wallet. I just pulled, you remember a couple of episodes ago, I made a little thing to hold all my cards? Usually it works great. This is the first time this has happened. I just pulled it by itself out of this bag, which means everything that was in it is in the bottom of the bag. So I started my Greenfield cardigan. This is a pattern from the book New England Knits. The yarn is stone wool. I don't know if I have the colorway handy. I do have the colorway handy. The yarn is stone wool American Delaine Merino in the colorway Root. I picked up that yarn at Knitwit around Christmas time with a gift card that I got for Christmas. I am absolutely loving the color. It's exactly what I wanted because this is going to be my cozy brown cardigan to sit in that chair in and read books when the dogs are not in my chair. Although they're really cute there. That's my whole goal with this sweater. It's got a little leaf pattern that goes along the bottom of it in the pattern. I'm going to probably do this. I'm going to finish this skein. This is a really typical kind of process for me. I'm going to finish this skein. I did the same thing with my the other one by Tin Can Knits that everybody does all the time. Wow, why can't I think of the name of that sweater? My flax sweater. I did this with my flax sweater too. So what I do is I buy a sweater's quantity. In this case, I think I bought 6 skeins based on the pattern, what the pattern suggested for a sweater's quantity. I have separated for the sleeves here, right? So I'll finish this skein, then I'll do the sleeves, and then whatever I have left I'll use for the bottom, and then the bind. There's like a little button band, but it's only a couple of rows. On this sweater it's like 2 rows of button band because the button holes are actually already there. There's 3 buttons at the top of the sweater and you knit those right away, and then there's no buttons the rest. I fully plan to wear it open all the time. That's basically the only way I'll ever end up wearing it because that's just the way I wear most cardigans. So I'll do the sleeves next. Once I finish that one ball of yarn that I've got going there, I'll do the sleeves, and then whatever I have left over will be the length of the sweater, and I'll just keep going until I run out. I like really long sweaters. Because I bought that yarn on a gift card, I was kind of on a budget because I just had as much as was on the gift card. And so I don't know how long it'll come out. But however long it is, it tends to work out for me. I've done this with a couple of sweaters now, and it tends to work out really well for me. The other thing that I finished recently for my finished objects was a sea glass hat. I finally did a sea glass hat. I've been wanting to do one for a while. My friend Maggie over at Wool of Bat had pointed out this pattern to me. It's so fun. And for the first time ever, I felt like I fully mastered continental knitting. I still don't do it. Like, I'm not doing it with that. I'm very much an English knitter. But I learned something about myself. So I don't know. I actually was asking some people on Twitter and a couple of other places a couple of weeks ago. I was talking about this. I don't know if it's like the shape of my fingers or what it is, but when I try to hold tension with the yarn between these fingers, especially like, you know, a lot of people, they loop over this one, right? And then they hold the tension here. I cannot hold tension there. But what I learned as I was like practicing, because the sea glass, for those who don't know, the sea glass knit hat is a free pattern. There's also a sea glass sweater that I think that pattern is not free, but the hat is a free pattern, and it uses a 1-1 color work pattern that you switch out each row. I started with 2 colors, like say I started with A and B. On row 2, I did, I stopped A, did B and C. Then on row 3, I stopped B and did C and D, if that makes sense. Like I did basically 2 rows of each color, but alternated the whole way up. It came out really cute, really cute. And it's got the same purple as my purple, shawl that I wear all the time, my Easy Goes It Easy Goes It purple shawl. Oh, I just realized looking at my Ravelry that I need to update the photos on that one. I didn't put my finished project photos on that one. But I have that same purple in the sea glass hat, so I feel like I can wear them together, which I like a lot because I didn't really have a hat that matched that purple scarf or shawl, and I wear that purple shawl constantly. It's the same color as my union that I work for. It's the same color as our logo, so I wear it all the time. So I realized doing like 1-1 color work, really you have to be able to do 2 fingers or it's going to take you forever, right? You can't pick up and switch every stitch. Like that would have taken me forever. So I was like, this is going to be the hat that I finally figure out continental knitting. And what I learned about myself was, although I can't hold tension here for whatever reason, I can hold tension with my wedding ring. So I looped over this finger under that one and then around this side of my wedding ring and let my wedding ring hold and my wedding and engagement ring hold extra tension for me. And that worked really well. And I was finally able to like 2-color knit with 1 continental and flicking with the other hand. Like it was the first time it felt like I leveled up because I've been trying to continental knit since I was a child. Like I remember my grandmother taught me to knit. The first time that I learned to knit, my grandmother taught me when I was 5 or 6-ish. I remember I wasn't quite tall enough. Like I could see, it was around the same time that she was teaching me to sew too. And I remember that I wasn't tall enough to see over the sewing machine. Like I would stand at the table and I was like eye level with the foot on the sewing machine. So I was very small. I was a very small kid anyway, so that's probably 4 or 5. And I remember her, like she knit English style, but I remember her saying to me, some people do it this way and showing me it like at that point. But she knit English style. So I, copying her, learned to knit English style. And at least in my memory, she knit English style. Maybe she knit both, but she taught me English style because it was easier for small hands. I don't know. But when I returned to knitting in my late 20s, I went right back to English style. Like that was just what I did, and that's what I've done all along. And even my Ixchel sweater, like there's a lot of 1-1 ribbing in the Ixchel sweater and a lot of color. Obviously, it's a full color work sweater. And part of the reason that took me so long was because I was struggling so much to do 2-color. Like I couldn't get a color on each hand, and I really needed to. And this has been like, I love the look of color work, but this has been my big thing with color work. So anyway, my sea glass hat felt like I leveled up because I finally mastered color work. I finally found a way, or finally mastered continental. I finally found a way to make continental work for me, which is just the best feeling ever. So I actually have been working really hard to not cast on too many things. Currently on my needles, I have that Greenfield cardigan that I showed you. I still have a wingspan shawl, but I've kind of stuck it in hibernation for a little bit. But I think I might pull it back out because the Greenfield cardigan is, now that I'm past the sleeves, like past where you separate for sleeves, it's just knit. And I do feel like I need something that's a little bit more challenging at times. So it's probably time to pull that wingspan shawl back out and get back to work on that. And the only other thing I have on the needles is my air socks for my Element Socks series, which are, actually they're technically not on the needles at the moment because I just fully frogged them. I know what I want them to look like. I swatched out the design idea as like just a swatch, but when you're doing a swatch, it's usually back and forth, right? I didn't do it in the round. Now that I'm doing it in the round, it's not quite working out the way that I want it to, so it's taking me a little bit longer. So I fully frogged them. Technically they're on the needles. They're in a bag with the needles, but they're not on the needles at the moment. So that's what I have on the needles at the moment. And then coming up, I also want to cast on very, very soon. I plan to cast on a couple of things that I want to talk about. I have a brioche hat that I started that's also been frogged. Not because I don't plan to do it. I still plan to do exactly the same hat with exactly the same color scheme that I talked about before. I was kind of relearning brioche because it's been a while, and I had not actually ever done a full complete project in brioche. I'd done some swatches because I wanted to learn brioche in the past, but I'd not done a full project in brioche. So I frogged it because after getting into it, I was noticing some inconsistencies and I knew it was going to bother me. So now that I kind of know again what I'm doing, once I finish, like I said, I'm trying to have not too many projects on the needles at a time. So I have the Greenfield cardigan and the wingspan shawl and the socks. So I have like a complicated project, an easy project, and socks, which is a travel project, right? A real good travel project. But once the wingspan shawl is done, I'll probably do the brioche hat next. That'll be the next thing I cast on. And then the other thing I'm really excited to cast on very, very soon is I am finally going to do the Wana Bat Shawl by Emily Mooney. It's a free pattern. I have not decided for sure what colors I want to do it in. I have some silver, I have some gray, I have some choices. And then I have two little projects I need to do for some kids that are going to be easy. I have the I have promised my nephew a pair of fingerless gloves for far too long, and I need to actually get those done for him. And then I have another kid in my life who wants another a mermaid tail blanket for her American Girl doll. I'll be doing those soon. And then the other thing I have on my needles still that I didn't mention, but I do want to bring up, is my reading shawl, or my reading blanket, which I plan to put over the reading chair. That's the ultimate goal. Doing a 2023 reading blanket. I need to get back and catch up on that. I'm a few books ahead of where I am on my blanket, so I'll catch up on that soon. I think the only other thing I have to talk about today is a couple of things that I got recently that I'm really excited about. So, 4 things, okay? So if I get to the end of this and I've only talked about 3, we gotta go back to 4. My birthday, I have them in like 6 different places. Let's collect them up. So my birthday was last month in April, and my spouse gave me a little bit of money and told me to buy myself something fun. They also bought me gifts. Like they actually bought me a really gorgeous autographed copy of my favorite book, which was just the absolute sweetest gift. And I'm completely in love with it. But then they also just, like, I was having a hard day one day and they had some money and they were like, you know what? Here, take this, go buy something for yourself. So I saved it for my birthday. And on my birthday, I was actually in Portland, Maine. So I went to Knitwit in Portland. I picked up the buttons that I'm going to use for the Greenfield cardigan, which I'm really excited about. I'm going to try to show them to you here, but it's probably not going to focus. So then I'll probably end up inserting a picture anyway. Yeah, it's not going to focus on them. No, I'll insert a picture. But I picked up these buttons. I think they're freaking adorable. I'm so excited to, like, my drive to finish the cardigan now, although part of it is I really want it. The other drive for it is just, I cannot wait to see how those buttons look on it because they're so cute. They're so cute. I'm in love with them. I picked up a new shawl pin by Katrinkles with a little acorn on it. Again, it's focusing on my face and it's not going to focus on the shawl pin. I should give up trying to show you things and just insert pictures. I actually wore that a couple of times already. I love it because it's a little bit thicker than my other shawl pins. And I almost always wear, like, I own so many scarves and shawls, but I end up wearing that one easy goes it, easy does it, the one I mentioned earlier that's in my purple. I end up wearing that one most of the time. And it is a little bit thicker. I feel like it stretches the stitches a little bit, but it's so cute once it's in that I work really hard to put it in between. There's the sections of yarn overs, lace sections of yarn overs in that shawl, and I try to put it in there. And it's so cute. And then the last thing I got was a skein of yarn. Had to get a skein of yarn, right? I asked the lovely woman working at Knitwit if she had anything that was like a rainbow sock yarn. I want to make a new pair of socks for Pride Month. So once I finish the water socks, these will be the next socks I cast on. So I got this biscotti hand dyed yarns. It's called Bisock yarn in rainbow is the colorway. Merino nylon, typical sock yarn, but I'm really excited to see how it knits up. It's hard to tell in a skein sometimes when a self-striping yarn, it's hard to tell in a skein what a self-striping yarn is going to do. And they didn't have any samples of this one, but the color was just brilliant and vibrant, and I'm very excited to see how that knits up. And then the last thing that I got for my birthday, this was actually a gift from my mother-in-law, but I want to show it to you because this is Stitch and Witch, so let's talk about the witch side of things. My mother-in-law got me a Stitch and Witch. My mother-in-law got me the Seasons of the Witch Beltane Oracle. Beltane, however you pronounce that. Everybody says it different, right? But the Seasons of the Witch Oracle, and I just want to show you a couple of these cards. It is beautiful. First of all, the side of the cards is so shiny. I love it. I love it. They have like a watercolor look to the art that is gorgeous. Again, it's not focusing. Why am I trying? Why am I trying? But the cards have a watercolor look to them that is absolutely gorgeous. There's a real heavy kind of tree nature feel, which is very me. It's just beautiful. I've had a lot of tarot decks, but I've never actually had an oracle deck that I felt spoke to me the way that this one is. It's a really lovely deck. I'm super pleased with it. I've been just like randomly pulling a card almost every day, but randomly pulling cards here and there, and journaling about what I read or what I see on the cards. And it's been lovely. And it's actually been like more of a daily witchy practice than I've had in a really long time. So that feels really good to be doing that again. And I am really grateful that I have an amazing mother-in-law who bought me that. So that was my other birthday gift that I wanted to show you just because it is so beautiful. It's such a great deck. I absolutely love it. I guess there's more in the series, it says. There's like a Samhain one, and I can't remember. In the little guidebook inside, it talks about others in this like Seasons of the Witch series. But I feel like at the place that I'm at in my life right now, she made the perfect choice with this deck. This one is fitting me absolutely perfectly. So what's coming up next? What's coming up in the future for Stitch and Witch? Like I said, it's going to be more of a casual, like occasional, maybe hopefully monthly, but we'll see how that works out. Vlog. I really do love to come on here and talk about my knitting. Now that I'm a month into or 3 weeks into this new job, I feel a little bit more like I know what I'm doing. A little bit more like I think when you first start a new job, even though it was kind of a lateral step into a position that I'd been doing a lot of these things already, there's still just so much new information in a new job that it just took over all my brain power. And for a couple of weeks there, I absolutely felt like I was just crumbling over the amount of information I was absorbing on a daily basis. Now that I finally got that under my belt, now that I finally know what I'm doing, and feel like I'm confident in my position, I feel like I can go back to, on the weekends, recording a video here and there for Stitch and Witch, which I'm really excited about. I don't know what I'm going to do with my Patreon. I don't see myself putting a lot of effort into Patreon. So who knows? That's up in the air. We'll get back to Patreon later. But I do want to continue designing, putting out patterns. I have some really big projects actually planned in the very near future. I have big projects planned. I have plans. I'm also still working on my novel, which I'm really hoping to have the first draft done by the end of this month. That is still my goal. Not as far along on it as I wanted to be at this point, but I am making progress. So I'm still aiming to have that novel done by the end of this month, or at least the first draft of that novel done by the end of this month, and be in the editing process by June 1st. I think that's everything I have right now. Thanks for spending this time with me. Thanks for coming by. Tell me like in the comments what you're knitting. Tell me what you're working on. I'd love to hear about it. Especially if you're doing cardigans, because I really want more hand knit cardigans. I'm really working to create kind of what I'm thinking of as a permanent capsule wardrobe is my goal. So I'm looking for sustainable, long lasting clothing that I will absolutely wear for the rest of my life is my plan. I hate shopping for clothes. I hate fast fashion. I hate how fast fashion is damaging our planet. I hate how fast fashion is abusing people. So I'm really looking to create sustainable, permanent clothing. And so I'm looking for the best cardigan patterns because I do wear sweaters a lot, and I want to have permanent clothing, permanent sweaters in my collection, in my wardrobe. So tell me what cardigan patterns especially you're working on, because I have a lot of pullover sweaters and I need more cardigans. And like, subscribe, tell a friend, all those things. Follow me on Instagram, Stitch and Witch. Wow, I just forgot my Instagram name. It's gonna come up in a second at the end of this. Remember when I said there are 4 items? So if I only show you 3, and then I only show you 3. Hey, none of that. I want to show you the 4th item. This is a little bit of a different item. So one of my colleagues at work actually gave me a whole bunch of old fur that she had been using for craft projects, and I plan to most of this is faux fur. I haven't actually looked through to make sure it all is, but most of it I believe is faux fur. But it's like leftover little bits from, she was making teddy bears and stuff. I'm going to turn it into fur pom-poms, and I'm really excited to cut up these little bits she gave me and turn them into fur pom-poms. I actually think that might be what I do this evening after work, because my sea glass hat, I really want to put a faux fur or a fur pom-pom. I don't care if it's faux fur or fur. My ultimate goal is to upcycle fur previously used from a different project. That's really my goal. Faux fur is basically plastic. I hate what it does to the environment, and I don't necessarily think that we need to be killing a bunch of animals for their fur, especially because there is so much fur already out there in the world, in items of clothing, in people's like garages and storage units or whatever. So I had put a call out on social media, and I have another friend also who has some rabbit fur for me that I'm also going to do the same thing with. I put a call out on social media for people to give me their leftover fur, their old fur projects, their old fur coats, whatever they had. And I'm going to upcycle those into fur pom-poms. I don't know how many I'm going to get out of this bag of fur. If I get just like a ridiculous amount, I may end up listing some of them on Etsy, just so that, because like, how many pom-poms does one girl need? I don't know. Maybe I need a lot of pom-poms. But I'm really excited about that. So that was the 4th item. I said, like, I literally predicted that I was going to forget to show you that, and I did. But that's the 4th item, is actually this fur that was gifted to me by my good friend. She actually is over at Dirigo Design, and she does amazing work. So check her out. I'll tag her whenever I put this up. I'll tag her in my Instagram and stuff at the same time. Dirigo Design, my friend over there who gifted me all that fur, and I'm really excited to see what I can do with it.